take us back a bit and to really acknowledge those who helped to pioneer the work that the CJCC has been engaged in information sharing. Just a bit of history, and in your program you have at the end a section that focuses on just the about our justice information system, the history of justice. Many know our JUSTIS system as a mechanism that is a hub to share data across, with a hub to connect data from many of the partners that are in the room. I am really just privileged to have had the opportunity to play a role when I started the CJCC 11 years ago. I was just talking to Judge Hedge about coming in. One of my first assignments was to button up what we know is our interagency information and technology agreement. That was the codicil, and I really found myself chuckling when I came in working on a codicil. That really band our agencies together with respect to how we were going to use and leverage justice. But I want to take us back a bit further. In 1997, this predated the establishment of CJCC. There was a working group that came together. So we had the Revitalization Act, which changed the landscape of criminal justice in the District of Columbia. There was a working group of leaders, local and our federal leaders, that came together and really started to map out priorities for our justice system. One of the main priorities was information sharing. And that gave rise to what became the group that started to focus on developing our justice information system. It took a few years, and I don't want to say too much because Judge Hedge can speak to us from firsthand experience and a lot better than I can, to bring partners together to just really overcome issues and concerns that partners had around what are you going to do with my data? How is my data going to be shared? How is it going to be protected? What really will CJCC, this agency that was in its infancy, do to ensure that we have rules of engagement that will be abided by? It was a long journey, and I came in 2006, and I was working on the agreement. There had been work, and there was development of the first phase. We had multiple phases and iterations of justice. And there were multiple partners and players that played an incredible role in the establishment of our justice information system that we all really enjoy. We continue to strive and push to make it better and more responsive to the needs that partners have. But I thought it was, collectively thought it was critical to pay homage to those who really had the vision and the insight to establish this hub in the first place. And so when we talk about information sharing, I have to note this, that I have the opportunity to have conversations with colleagues nationally and speak nationally about what's happening in the District of Columbia, and I do it with pride because we are rock stars here, for sure. We are doing some incredible, innovative, important, thoughtful work on a number of fronts, not the least of which is information sharing. And partners marvel when we talk about how our federal and local agencies are able to leverage a system such as justice to address real-time issues that our partners are experiencing on a daily basis. We have the pleasure, I'm going to start with our partners who are here, of just, again, acknowledging and honoring those who really led the charge so that we can benefit from the system that we do have today. The first honoree is Judge Brooke Hedge, the Honorable Judge Brooke Hedge, and her bio is in your program. It's on page 8. I just want to say that when I started at CJCC, I learned really quickly that we have judges, as we certainly have been in the Honorable Lynn Leibowitz, who are committed to ensuring that we have a fair administration of justice in the District of Columbia, and are so nimble and brilliant in the ability to tackle issues like technology in a way that, you think about your judicial officers. Thanks, Imran. You think about your judicial officers and the serious roles, the serious ways in which they tackle these issues that are not about just defendants and victims and witnesses and prosecutors and the like. So I'm just and on cue we have another just illustrious judicial officer coming in, the Honorable Lee Satterfield, who's here with us as we're talking about, again, those who were really in the vanguard to ensure that our justice system is what it is today. Judge Hedge actually served as, and correct me if I'm in error on this, our first ITAC co-chair, one of the first with Chief Judge, actually after Chief Judge King, chair, the co-chair. I just have to admit that I've never had the pleasure of coming in contact with a judge who knew so much about technology. It was actually, I think, and I came from, I was practicing and did telecom law. And so to come into this arena and have a judicial officer who was not only so intimately familiar, but also really took pride in knowing with great detail what was happening on the justice front, it bode well for us in being able to get to where we are today. Judge Hedge was absolutely an architect of the system, along with our other honorees. And while she's certainly in senior status right now, I actually was able to call her outside of the city to say, would you come back just so that we could shine a light on the incredibly invaluable role that you played in justice? And she absolutely agreed to do so. I think that I would ask that we totally step back and thank Judge Hedge for the tireless effort, time, energy, commitment, which meant sometimes, we talk about wrangling and shepherding folks. She was at the helm of making that happen in many ways on the ground with many of the partners who had questions, concerns, issues, some pushback about what it meant to really stand up justice. Without further ado, I am privileged and honored and so certainly humbled to present our first award, our Architect of Justice Award, to the Honorable Brooke Hedge. It reads, in recognition of your visionary and pioneering leadership in establishing the Justice Information System, the District of Columbia's Integrated Justice Information System, which serves as a vital hub for interagency data sharing among law enforcement and justice agencies. Judge Hedge.